Steelers GM Omar Khan has been busy after the conclusion of the 2025 NFL Draft, signing a number of UDFAs, undrafted free agents, to join the Pittsburgh Steelers rookie class this year. And today I'm going to be breaking down some of the names, and then there's actually some pretty darn good names in this class here, guys, of UDFAs that I'm really excited to talk about. Before we get into the content today, thank you guys so much for supporting all of our draft coverage that we put in on Steelers Talk this year. We were live for every single pick of the NFL Draft this year. We gave in-depth pick cuts and where we went in-depth on every single Steelers draft pick and put them into videos on our channel. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. I think every single one of them had at least 10,000 views. So thank you guys so much for all of your support. And, of course, if you want to see my final grades on every single draft pick that the Pittsburgh Steelers made, we put out a video on that yesterday that has over 50,000 views right now. So thank you guys to all of you that already watched that video. And make sure you click that subscribe button because we got a bunch of great post-draft content coming up on this channel in the weeks to come. And it certainly sounds like Aaron Rodgers could sign here very, very shortly. So make sure you click that subscribe button because we're just getting started with our offseason coverage here on Steelers Talk. So let's take a look at the UDFAs that the Steelers have signed so far. Now, I will say there's still a roster spot available on the Steelers, all right? So it's still possible they could add to this group, but I think we know who's going to fill that last roster spot, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be Aaron Rodgers. But DJ Thomas-Jones, tight end out of South Alabama. Aiden Williams, a guard out of Minnesota Duluth, Division II. Ben Saul, kicker out of Pittsburgh, lefty kicker. We'll talk about him a little bit more later in today's show. J.J. Galbreath, tight end out of South Dakota, really good athlete. Roc Taylor, wide receiver out of Memphis. Keshan Williams, wide receiver out of Indiana. And then safety out of Iowa, Sebastian Castro. Can't wait to talk about these three players in particular later on in today's show. But let's just get into in-depth here of these guys that the Steelers are bringing in. DJ Thomas-Jones, tight end out of South Alabama. This guy last year had 22 catches for just under 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. 250-pounder, and his hometown's from Mobile, Alabama. So that is the home of the Senior Bowl. If you guys didn't know that, but you're adding to the tight end group here. He's going to be in the mix. We'll see how he ends up doing here as we get to rookie mini camp and we get into the offseason program. Of course, culminating at the start of training camp in Latrobe. Then we get to Aiden Williams, an offensive lineman. He played tackle at Minnesota Duluth, which is a Division II school. But he is somebody that's going to project as a guard at the National Football League level because of his arm length. He's got under 33-inch arms. Plus, he came from, obviously a lower level of competition. But he is very athletic. He tested very, very well this year at his pro day. And, I think his relative athletic score is over an 8, which is a really good score for somebody that went undrafted. So, I thought that the Pittsburgh Steelers might take an offensive lineman in the later rounds of the NFL draft because that's what they did last year with Mason McCormick. Knowing that James Daniels was going to be a free agent the next offseason, they got his replacement in the NFL draft in Mason McCormick with Sayamalo now in a contract year. I thought that they might be looking to add some more depth to potentially replace him in the future. But I know they like Spencer Anderson. I know they like their depth along the offensive line right now. And then Aiden Williams has a chance to really prove himself during the offseason program as well and get himself in the mix to potentially be a future starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers if he ends up developing in the way that the Steelers hope after signing him to a UDFA contract. So let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. Who is your favorite UDFA signed by the Steelers? You guys can also answer this question at the end of today's show if you want. Because obviously we haven't talked about all these guys yet, so maybe you'll find your fancy somewhere else in this video. But this will be the pinned comment on today's show. YouTube's going to throw an ad break here at you in just 1 second, and when that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. Then you got Ben Saul, the Pitt Panther, lefty kicker out of Pittsburgh, coming to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, obviously, you have Chris Boswell, the great and powerful Boz. I don't expect Sauls to win the job, but it's nice to have him in here. I think he does have a good leg, and he's got a chance to really earn himself an NFL job of some kind here with a good performance in Latrobe and during the preseason games where he can prove himself as an NFL kicker. I definitely don't expect him to take Boswell's job, but hopefully this opportunity for Sauls to be with the Pittsburgh Steelers, to experience a training camp and a preseason with this team, and then hopefully he does well in the opportunities that he gets. Hopefully another NFL team looks at him and says, yeah, man, this guy could be our kicker. especially if there's injuries. We know that these things tend to happen throughout the course of an NFL season. So hopefully Sauls gets a great opportunity here, and he makes the most of it so that he can carve out a nice NFL career for himself. Then you got the athletic tight end out of South Dakota, J.J. Galbreath. And this guy is somebody that, that I'm excited to see in the offseason program this year. He's very athletic. He's another guy that had a relative athletic score over an 8 this year with his athletic testing before the NFL draft. Last year at South Dakota, he had 32 catches for 469 yards, 4 touchdowns. I do think that Galbraith has a better chance than the other tight end that they signed here, where I think that because he's got the better athletic profile, all right? He ran a really good 40 time. Really good speed for a tight end, even though he's way undersized at just 231 pounds for a tight end. So, if he's going to make this team, guys, he's going to have to be a true receiving threat, and he's going to have to prove himself. I do think he probably has an uphill battle to make the final roster here in Pittsburgh, but at least he's got the athletic tools and profile to potentially make a splash during the offseason program for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, before we get into some of the guys that I'm really excited to see for the Pittsburgh Steelers and some guys that I actually think have a chance to make the final 53-man roster here, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Mando Whole Body Deodorant. And spring is in the air and the weather is warming up, especially here in Texas. I'm most looking forward to taking my dog out for long walks and going to a baseball game or two on the weekends during the summer to take my mind off of football. I'm looking forward to it even more because I've started using Mando Whole Body Deodorant, and unlike some of the other DOs that I've tried, it can actually handle anything. Mando is safe to use anywhere on your body and is clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor for up to 72 hours. Also, Mando's entire line of products are baking soda-free, paraben-free, and you can choose from a variety of fresh scents like Cloverwoods, Mount Fuji, Pro Sport, or my personal favorite, Bourbon Leather. Mando has a special offer for new customers to get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code and link. Use code CHAT at shopmando.com. Now, I actually brought my own stick of Mando Whole Body Deodorant for you guys to see here on today's video just to prove that, yes, I use this product every single day. I use the Bourbon Leather scent. I also have a big bottle of the Mando body wash as well in the Bourbon Leather as well. And one of the benefits of a company like Mando is that you can get your body wash and your deodorant, all of your different stuff that you use for personal hygiene in the same scent. So you don't kind of clash scents with all these different things. A lot of times people use a different body wash with a different scent as their deodorant, and sometimes it doesn't mesh well. With Mando, you don't have to worry about that. And then with Mando Starter Pack, it's perfect for new customers, guys, because it comes with a solid stick of deodorant like I just showed you, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, which are highly recommended. Plus, you get free shipping. As a special offer for our listeners, new customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code that equates to over 40% off your starter pack when you use code CHAT at shopmando.com. That's shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando Whole Body Deodorant today. Now we get to some of the guys that I'm really excited about in this UDFA class here, guys. Roc Taylor, wide receiver out of Memphis. Just a steady Eddie out there, man. Like, he's a decent route runner. He didn't really test, like, off the charts or anything like that, but I do think he's somebody that is really good in the contested catch situations, particularly down the field, where his ball tracking ability on deep passes is actually pretty darn impressive. This was Tom Downey's scouting report on Roc Taylor. He says outside wide receiver who does well in contested catch situations. Great play strength and blocks decently. That's important for OC Arthur Smith. Not good enough at getting open and creating after the catch. I do agree with that. He's not like a twitched up athlete or anything like that, guys, and he's not necessarily the best route runner in the world. So not a lot of separation created and not a lot of stuff you're going to get from him after the catch. But if you just need somebody that can track the deep ball, win contested catch situations, he is a bigger body. I think that this is somebody that can absolutely compete in the Steelers wide receiver room this offseason program. This is what Dane Brugler had to say about Roc Taylor. Says Taylor will struggle to escape press and tight coverage over the first 2 levels, but his competitiveness and ability to adjust to the football will be his tickets to success at the next level, especially in the red zone. So he is somebody, guys, that I think could have success as kind of like a red zone type of receiver, maybe even catch a couple touchdowns from time to time. That is if he makes the team. He's going to have to prove himself at the next level for sure, but I thought he was one of the most steady wide receivers at the combine. No drops. He's going to be somebody that comes in here, and I think the Steelers are going to find that he's one of the more reliable UDFAs that they've had at this position in a long time. But maybe the receiver I'm more excited about here is a wide receiver from Indiana, Keshan Williams, who is a slot receiver for them, and he was really, really good for them last season, guys. I turned on his tape, and working from the slot, they used him a lot as kind of a manufactured screen type of player, and he's got some juice to him now. He's been a little bit of punt return as well at Indiana, and I think that he's got a little bit of wiggle to him. Made some nice catches down the field as well. So if you're looking for somebody here to compete with Roman Wilson, who is the presumptive favorite to kind of play this role in the Steelers offense, but if Roman really struggles during the offseason program here and then Keshan thrives, I mean, who knows what could happen here. 39 catches last year for 448 yards and 5 touchdowns for a pretty darn good Indiana offense last year, but he is 5'9", so he is undersized, 188 pounds, so he's going to be a true slot receiver that comes in here to compete with Roman Wilson and compete with Calvin Austin III, try to carve himself out a role here with the Pittsburgh Steelers, but with a punt return kind of upside here, and then, some good experience being kind of a run after the catch threat at Indiana. I'm excited to see what he does with the Steelers during the offseason program. But if you're asking me which UDFA this year has the best chance of making the Pittsburgh Steelers final roster, I think it's Sebastian Castro, safety / nickel defender out of Iowa. And I would have been okay if the Pittsburgh Steelers spent like a 5th-round pick on Sebastian. Now, he's not really a fantastic athlete, and that's something that you need to understand about Castro, and that's probably why he didn't get drafted. But I really like his instincts, and I really like his versatility. He can play safety. He can play in the nickel. I honestly think that he was a really good nickel defender 2 years ago when he played more in the slot. Then they moved him to more of a true safety role at Iowa last year, and I didn't think his tape was as good in 2024 at safety than it was as a nickel defender in 2023. So the Steelers are going to have a big-time competition. There's going to be like 4 or 5 different people that could feasibly be the starting slot defender for the Pittsburgh Steelers in their nickel looks, and Castro is going to be right in the mix. This is what Dane Brugler had to say about Castro. Castro is an instinctive zone defender with trustworthy football character, but his ordinary speed and explosiveness limit his upside in most schemes. He best fits as a big nickel safety, likely as a backup. So you bring in Castro here, who I think has really good instincts. Iowa does an awesome job getting their defensive backs ready to play in the National Football League. Had an interception last year and 2 PBUs. I thought, like many people in this class, I thought he had a better 2023 than he had a 2024. But this is somebody I expected to get drafted on day 3 that didn't, and he was one of the priority signings for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think that if any of these UDFAs is going to end up making the final roster like Beanie Bishop Jr. out of West Virginia did last year, I think it's going to be Sebastian Castro out of Iowa, and I'm excited to see what he does this offseason. So just to recap here, DJ Thomas-Jones, probably an uphill battle to make the final roster, if I'm being honest with you guys. Aiden Williams, excited to see how he kind of translates his athleticism. He has really good tape as well out of D2, Minnesota Duluth, so we'll see how he plays during the offseason program. He's going to have an opportunity, potentially. Ben Saul, he's going to have a potential opportunity here to make an impact on the NFL and make an impression. You got J.J. Galbreath out of South Dakota, really good athlete. Can't wait to see what he does this offseason. Roc Taylor, really good contested catch receiver. Keshan Williams, really shifty slot wide receiver. And then Sebastian Castro, another potential nickel cornerback type of player that's going to be competing for that spot on the Steelers defense here in 2025. So do it right now. Grade the Steelers UDFA class here, A, B, C, D, or F. I will say the Steelers do have one more roster spot available. They have 89 people on the roster, so it's still possible they sign one more UDFA, but I think we all know what that 90th roster spot is being saved for at this point. So if Aaron Rodgers does sign tonight or does sign this week, Coop and I will be live here on this channel. We're going to be giving away an Aaron Rodgers Steelers jersey if that happens. And if that happens, guys, if you add Aaron Rodgers to this really well-constructed roster by GM Omar Khan, in my opinion, I think the Steelers are once again set up to have another playoff type of run here in 2025 and hopefully deliver this franchise and this fan base its first playoff win in a very, very long time. So click that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're going to be covering it all on Steelers Talk this week. We got Steelers Talk Live tomorrow to break down the draft and everything heading into the rest of the offseason here. So make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers.